Hello everyone, I am Sarita Rawat, Assistant Professor, School of Pharmacy in Suresh Yan Vihar University. Today we will start our next topic, that is nasal decongestant and this is in your first unit, Pharmacology of Drug Acting on Respiratory System. So content of today's lecture, we will cover definition, causes, drug classification, drug to avoid in nasal congestion, and what are the conclusion of to using nasal decongestants. Learning outcome of this module, you are able to understand about the drug range, the uses, the mechanism of action used in the nasal decongestant, what are the use of nasal decongestant. Then you are able to know about the side effect of the drug and mechanism of action of the drug, and now you are able to treat the nasal decongestion. So, what are nasal decongestants? Why we use nasal decongestants and where we use nasal decongestants? So, firstly, nasal decongestants are viscoconstructive drugs that extremely useful as non-precipitation medication, and they are of both oral and topical in both oral and topical doses form, and are often chosen as a therapy in common cold. So basically, whenever any person is suffering from common cold and they are having some congestion problem in their nose, so they can use nasal decongestion to make free from that. So nasal decongestants may be used in treating nasal congestion that is associated with sinusitis, middle ear infection, and upper respiratory tract infection. So any of the symptoms caused by the sinusitis or middle ear infection, or either by the upper respiratory tract infections, so you can use nasal decongestant to cure it. Now, what are decongestants? The drug or procedure which eliminate or reduce the nasal congestion or swelling is called decongestants. Okay, so whenever any person suffering from such problems, we use nasal decongestants. Then respiratory tract congestion is caused by bacterial infection, which are treated by antibiotics and bronchodilator drug. The nasal congestion produced by the common cold is caused by viral infections, may be relieved by the steam inhalation or methylated steam. So, whenever any person suffering from the respiratory tract congestion, by which is the common cause by bacterial infection, so they go for antibiotic treatment, bronchodilator treatment, but they can also go for the therapeutic other therapeutic treatment or any prophylactic treatment, like they can use steam inhalation, they can use methanolated steam inhalation whenever they suffer from the viral infections and have common cold. There are other drugs also. The nasal congestion can be produced by sympathomimetic drug which act on alpha receptor, and the drug produce vasoconstriction and shrink of the nasal mucosa of nostril. So what happen whenever any congestion occur in your nasal path, so there have been a process of vasodilation. Okay, so the nasal mucosa, the nostrils may be dilate. So, by giving them symptomatic drug, they act on the alpha receptor and they make the vasoconstriction, which make the shrinking of the nasal mucosa and make you feel free from the nasal congestions. Nasal decongestants is drug that is used to relieve nasal congestion in the upper respiratory tract. The active ingredient is the most decongestants is either pseudoephedrine or phenylephrine. Then internal corticosteroid can also used as a decongestant, and antihistamine can be used to alleviate runny nose, nasal itch and sneezing. So whenever any person is suffering from common cold, and because of that they are suffering from runny nose or nasal itching or sneezing, so they can use some drugs like we have a pseudoephedrine, phenylephrine, so they it may be cure their problems. Nasal decongestant may be used in treating nasal congestion associated with sinusitis, middle ear infection, and upper respiratory tract infection. Nasal decongestant are agents that constrict dilated blood vessels in the nasal mucosa by stimulating alpha adrenergic nerve receptor in vascular smooth muscles. So basically, nasal decongestant mainly work on the alpha adrenergic receptor, and they make the vasoconstriction. Because of that, the congestion may decrease. What are the ideal nasal decongestant we have, and why should we follow them? So whenever we make any nasal decongestant, they may be the following properties so that they can cure the disease. So it should not damage the nasal cilia, and it should be free from the side effect, and it should be safe on use. So whenever we are making any pharmaceutical product or pharmaceutical medications for nasal decongestion, so we have to follow these kind of properties. So it should not produce any nasal irritation. So while applying these kind of decongestion, they should not produce any side effect, any irritation. It should produce prompt action, prolonged and reliable effect. So they should have given our accurate actions, and they should cure the symptom, and their effect is very long. It should not produce after congestion adverse effect. So after we use it, they have no side effect or lesser adverse effect, we can say. They should not be full of adverse effect. It should not produce tachyphylaxis effect. So these are some ideal properties of decongestants. So whenever any person is having decongestant, so the decongestant they are having, they should see these kind of properties, either the drug having these properties or not. Nasal decongestants are combined with antihistamines, corticosteroid, and antibiotics, and more for more efficacy. So we can use nasal decongestant with the combination of corticosteroid and antibiotic for better betterment or for more effect. The combination of the drug preparation has doubtful efficacy. So they have more efficacy, and they cure the symptom more rapidly. The symptomatic drug which have a specific effect on alpha receptors are used as nasal decongestant. Ephedrine produces nasal decongestion because of its effect on alpha receptor. Tachyphylaxis after congestions and systemic effect are the side effect or disadvantage of ephedrine. So we use sympathomimetic drug for the treatment of nasal congestions, but mostly we use ephedrine. But the side effect of ephedrine is tachyphylaxis reactions. Also, we lesser use it. So other drug which act on alpha receptor, we have other drug also that act on alpha receptor rather than ephedrine. So they are xylometazoline hydrochloride, oxymetazoline, then we have a nafazoline nasal drop, pseudoephedrine, and phenyl propanolene. So these are some other drugs which act on alpha receptor. Now coming to the types of nasal decongestants, we have categorized them according to their properties. So firstly, we have a internally or systemic decongestant that work on the systemic that go through the systemic circulation. Then they work. So we have a pseudoephedrine, phenyl propanamine, and that we call PPA, and we have a phenylephrine. Then we have a topical decongestant also. Topical decongestant in the doses form of drop or sprays. So we have, for example, we have a zolemetazoline, we have a phenylephrine, and we have a oxymetazoline and a nafazoline in the category of topical decongestants. Then another category we have inhaler. So inhaler is very simple to use and easily accessible. That is most widely used as another decongestant. So we have one dexoxyphenidate and propyl hexadrine for in the inhaler. Then the common mechanism of action of nasal decongestant, how they work in our body. So nasal decongestant belong to the pharmacological class of sympathomimetic amines, and they decongestant stimulates alpha adrenergic agonist and reducing its supply to the nose, and they decrease the amount of blood in the sinusoid vessels and decrease the mucosal edema. So what happens whenever any congestion happen in the nostril, the blood vessels dilated. Okay, so when we take any kind of nasal decongestant, so they construct the blood vessels, they reduce the dilations, and they make blood vessels shrinkage. So because of that, the blood vessels are easy to supply. Nasal decongestants are administered topically by inhalation or orally. Topical use decongestants are effective rapidly. So when we compare about the topical systemic, so topical decongestants are more rapidly active. A common problem in the use of the D agent is rebound nasal congestion. Excessive use cause local ischemia and irritation of the nasal mucosa that may lead to extensive secondary vasodilation and congestion. So, whenever we use nasal decongestion, they have a common problem of rebound the nozzle congestion. Okay, and when we use it in a excessive amount, so they may cause ischemia, local irritation, local irritation of the mucosa, and also they cause secondary vasodilation and congestion. So it is recommended that we do not have to use nasal decongestant more oftenly. Rebound congestion is the return of excessive tissue fluid occurring as a result of using nasal decongestion for the time of period of doses beyond those recommended by the manufacturer. So we have to use them according to the prescription, according to the direction that are mentioned in our product. Although topical administration of decongestant result in only minimal absorption of the drug through the nasal mucosa, adverse systemic effects such as elevation of blood pressure and CNS stimulation may occur if the decongestant solution drains through the nasal passages and it's swallowed by the client. So when we use topical route of decongestant, so they may we have to properly examine the blood pressure, the CNS stimulation, because they may cause some side effect there. Some decongestants drugs are administered by inhalation using specially designed inhalers. Such inhalers are generally plastic containers containing an inert fibrous material impregnated with a volatile decongestant drug. And some decongestants are come in specially designed inhalers, as you have ever seen in your life, just like they come in the form of Vaseline, and They come in a form of like very they use a plastic container, and that is a mixture of fibrous material and the volatile decongestant drug. So they are very easy to use, and they are very easily available also on the OTC. Oral decongestant also act by constructing blood vessels in the nasal mucosa. They generally have a longer duration of action than the topical agent, but tend to have less constructive effect. Oral decongestants may affect vascular beds or than those found in the nasal mucosa. So oral decongestants, we also use oral decongestant, and then they construct the blood vessels in the nasal mucosa. And generally, when we compare them with the systemic and the topical, so they have longer duration of action, and they have less constructive effect also. Now, coming to the point, systemic nasal decongestant. So, what are the mechanism of action of systemic nasal decongestant? How they work? Potent direct acting alpha adrenergic stimulator with weak beta adrenergic activity, and they cause vasoconstriction of the areoles of the nasal mucosa, and they have a conjunctive activities that dilate the mucus of the pupil to cause consumption, and they produce systemic arterial vasoconstriction. So whenever we use any systemic decongestant, so they act on the alpha adrenergic receptor, and weakly they like work on the beta adrenergic activity. Then they cause the vasoconstriction, and because of that the congestion may decrease. Now we have some side effect of systemic decongestants. They in CNS, central nervous system, they cause nervousness, restlessness, headache, and insomnia in the patient. Then when we see in the cardiovascular system, CV system, they increase the blood pressure and increase the heart rate. So that's why we recommend always to check the blood pressure also when we are taking any systemic decongestants. Then in the urinary system, they act on like they give a side effect of urinary sphincter construction. Now we have some systemic nasal decongestant. For example, we have pseudoephedrine and phenylephrine HCl. So we have a brand name and interaction, side effect, everything about the pseudoephedrine and phenylephrine. So we will discuss about this. Brand name of pseudoephedrine is Dacofet, and phenylephrine is Neospringfin. Then the indications how to use it. When we talk about the pseudoephedrine, it's symptomatically relief of the nasal congestion due to the common cold, upper respiratory allergies, and it's promote the nasal or sinus drainage. When we talk about the side effect of pseudoephedrine, so we found in CNS, it causes nervousness, irritability, restlessness, headache, and insomnia. And in CV cardiovascular system, it increases the blood pressure, and heart rate is irregular, and palpitation also. In GIT, it causes nausea, vomiting, and in neuromuscular and skeletal, it causes weakness and tremor. When we talk about the doses form, the doses form is solution or oral dose, oral drips, and as HCl DIMTA decongestant infant drops, and it comes in the infant also for in the drop form in 7.5 mg to 0.8 ml 15 ml say bottle. Then in the syrup form as a HCl, it comes into 30 mg per 5 ml, 120 ml to 480 ml, and in tablet form it comes into 30 mg to 60 mg. When we talk about the drug interaction, so it has a drug interaction with the sympathomimetic may increase the toxicity, and it can decrease effect of methyl dopa and aspirin. So it is advised to do not take these drugs. Then we have another drug. We have already studied about the pseudoephedrine. Now we will cover the phenylephrine. Phenylephrine, the brand name is neosynephrine, and the interaction of phenylephrine is for systemically relief of nasal and nasopharyngeal mucosa congestion, and it give relief of the redness of eye due to irritation. Then side effect, it can cause nervousness in CNS, irritability, restlessness, and headache. See, in cardiovascular system, it increases the blood pressure and heart rate is irregular and palpitation. And in GIT, it causes nausea, vomiting. And in neuromuscular and skeletal, it causes weakness and tremor. Then doses form of phenylephrine, we have nasal decongestant therapy should not exceed 3 continuous day. So we use it for the 3 days. 2 to 6 year infant, initial doses 3 drop every day, 2 to 4 hours of 0.125% solution as needed. And in children more than 12 year and adult, install 1 to 2 syrup sprays of 1 to 2 drops every 4 hours of 0.25% up to 0.5%. Then we have a nutritions for phenylephrine. It is in early, in elderly, in hypothyroidism, in bradycardia, in partial heart blocker. Then contraindication, they are not used in hypersensitivity condition, hypertension condition, and tachycardia condition, ventricular condition. Now we have a topical nasal decongestant. How topical nasal decongestants work, and what are they available in the form of? So they include sprays, drops, and inhalers. So they are available in all the forms. So first we will talk about the spray. Sprays, the advantage of sprays are they have a fast onset of action. So whenever we are using spray, they act like very fast. They cover large surface area when we spray it, so they go more. They work on the more area. Then they are very simple to use. Every can use it, every conscious patient use it, and it is inexpensive. So as compared to other doses form, they are very inexpensive. What are its disadvantages? They imprise the dosing, and their tendency for tip the bottle to become clogged. So whenever we use spray, so they have a tendency the doses, the bottle can be clogged because of using it again and again. Then we have a drop form. It what are the advantage of drop? It is preferred for small children. So it is very easy to use in small children, and it is very easy to calculate the dosing for small children. Then what are the disadvantage of drops? So we have a disadvantage of drop, like it has a high risk of contamination, it has limited coverage into nasal mucosa, and it is easy passes into the lineates. Then the third form we have inhalers. So how inhaler work? What are the advantage of inhaler? Inhaler easy to be handle and carry. So we can use inhaler very easily. Everyone can use it rather than children. Then disadvantage. What are the disadvantage of inhaler? Unobstructed airway and sufficient airflow needed to distribute drug to nasal mucosa. So whenever any person is having inhaler, they need unobstructed airway. So that's how it will reach into the systemic circulation, and they have a sufficient airflow in their nasal mucosa, so that they can distribute equally in the nasal mucosa and they can reach to the site of action. What are the side effect of topical decongestant? We have, they can cause local irritation and they cause rebound congestions. So this is all about the systemic topic. This is all about the topical nasal decongestant. Now we have a special note also for the topical decongestion. The patient must follow the instruction in label duration and frequency of use. If not, they follow it can cause rebound congestion will be developed. So it is very important when you are using topical nasal decongestant, whatever written in the label, what is the duration and what is the frequency to use of the topical nasal decongestion, you have to follow that instruction very properly. Otherwise you have to face the problem like rebound of the congestion. What is the cause of rebound congestion? Why topical nasal decongestion cause rebound congestion? So because ischemic as a result of local vasoconstriction of the drug or local irritation of the drug. So it may cause the ischemic, and that can cause local vasoconstriction of the drug and local irritation of the drug. So how to overcome with the rebound of congestion? So if you are suffering from the rebound congestion, now how can you treat it? So stop topical nasal decongestion what you are using prior, then switch to the oral nasal decongestant or internal isotonic normal saline 50% or intranasal steroid. So you can use either the oral nasal decongestant, then you can either go for the isotonic normal saline 50%, then you can also go for intranasal steroids. So they make you free from the rebound of nasal congestion. Now we have some topical nasal congestion, nasal decongestant with their brand name, interaction, dosing. So ephedrine, first we have ephedrine, and then we have a ipratropium bromide. Then that is also anti-muscarine drug. So brand name of ephedrine is ephedrine, and interaction of ephedrine is nasal decongestant. Indication that is used in nasal decongestant, and the dosing is initial dose we have 1 to 2 drops in each nostrils up to 3 to 4 times daily. Then we have side effect of ephedrine is we have to avoid excessive or prolonged use of ephedrine because they can cause rebound of the congestion. Then we have a quotation for this in infant under 3 months. Then we have contraindications. Contraindications, we have hypersensitivity to ephedrine. Those people who have hypersensitivity to ephedrine, they do not have to use it. Then cardiac arrhythmias, those people who have suffering from cardiac arrhythmias, it is not recommendable to use ephedrine while they are suffering from nasal congestion. Then angle closure glaucoma. If any person is having angle closure glaucoma, they do not have to use ephedrine. Then they have a drug action. Drug action is increased effect with sympathomimetic agent. So it is not recommended to use it with the sympathomimetic drugs. Then it is not recommended to use with theophylline, cardiac glycosides, and anesthetics. And decrease effect with it can also increase the effect with these drugs, and it can decrease its effect while we are using ephedrine with alpha and beta adrenergic blocker drugs. So it is recommended do not use ephedrine with these drugs. Then what are the doses form? It comes in the nasal drop, ephedrine, HCl 0.5%. Now the second drug, we have a ipratropium bromide, that is our antimuscarine receptors, work on the antimuscarine receptor. We have a Atrovent of the brand name present in the market for the ipratropium bromide. Then the indications for ipratropium bromide, it is used in rhinorrhea associated with the allergic and non-allergic rhinitis. Doses form, we have apply 42 microgram as to spray each nostrils 2 to 3 times daily. Then what are the side effects? Side effect, we have nasal dryness, irritation, nausea, headache, antimuscarine agent, GIT disturbance, they have palpitation, they have urinary retention. Then cutation, avoid spraying near eyes. We can do. We have to not spray it near eyes, otherwise they can damage to the eye. Then we can take cutation like used with the myasthenia. We do not have use with myasthenia gravis, narrow angle glaucoma, those people who are suffering from these disease, and benign prostatic hyperplasia. So those people who are suffering from these, they have to take precautions, and they do most of the all they do have to avoid this drug. Now we have contraindications. Contraindications, patient with the hypersensitivity to ipratropium, lectin or related food product, and atropine. So those people who are having these kind of problems, they do not have to use it. Then the when we talk about the drug interactions, so drug interactions we have, if increase the toxicity with anticholinergic or drug with anticholinergic properties. So when we talk about the dosage form of ipratropium bromide, we have solution for nebulization 0.02%. We have solution for oral inhalation 18 mcg per aquatin, and solution for internal spray we have 0.03% or 0.06%. So this is all about your topical nasal decongestant. Now, it is very important to realize that antihistamine and decongestants exert only a palliative effect on symptoms of the common cold and allergic rhinitis and are not curative. Symptomatic treatment of nasal congestion is useful. However, it relieves discomfort and prevent blowing of the nose, which may further irritate the nasal mucosa. So when we are taking any nasal decongestant, we have to know about this, that the nasal congestion is just like a symptoms. It is not disease. It is a symptom in many symptom of many disease like a common cold, allergic rhinitis, and it is a cure. It is not curative. It is just a symptomatic. We can just cure it by the symptomatic treatment. But it can when we are using any nasal decongestant, we have to know about this. This can be also reoccur while the while the disease come again. So it relieves the discomfort and it prevent blowing of the nose, but it may further irritate the nasal mucosa also. So we have to take it in our mind. Now we have some questions also related to this lecture. You can answer these questions very easily. What are the example of nasal decongestant? How long acting decongestant? 8 to 12 hour. Those mechanism of actions for 8 to 12 hour. What are the side effect of nasal decongestant? What are the formulation that are available for nasal decongestant? What drugs interact with the nasal decongestant? And are nasal decongestants safe to use while pregnant or breastfeeding? The class of drug used to treat to allergic reactions is called what we called it, and allergic can cause conjunctivitis. What is pet dander? Pollen is a powder produced by certain plant that can trigger allergies. So these questions are very easy, and these are very easy to answer. While if you understand if you understand these previous slides, so you can easily answer these questions. Like we will see what are the example of nasal decongestant. So it is very easy. We have a variety of nasal decongestant. So as you can see, we have a xylometazolam, oxymetazolam, nefazoline, pseudoephedrine, and phenylpropanamine. Then the second question we have is uh, long-acting decongestant. So mainly the systemic decongestants are long-acting decongestant. Then what are the side effects of nasal decongestant? It is very easy. They may cause increase in your blood pressure. They may cause urinary retention. So according to the type of nasal decongestant we are using, there are lots of side effects. And for example, you can see the ephedrine. What are the ephedrine side effects? So we have to avoid it in prolonged use, because it can cause very side effects like nasal dryness, irritation, nausea, headache. So there are lots of side effects of nasal decongestant. So next question is, what are the formulation available for nasal decongestion? So we have a topical decongestant, systemic decongestant, and oral decongestant. So that are the formulation that are available for nasal decongestant. And also we have categorized them into subcategory, like in the form of sprays, in the form of inhaler, and in the form of drops. Then what drug interact with the nasal decongestant? So that depends upon the type of drug we are using. For example, if we are using the ipratropium, so the drug interaction of ipratropium is it cannot be used with the anticholinergic drug, and because the drug with the it can increase the toxicity with the anticholinergic drug. So this depends upon the type of drug we are using, for the type of nasal decongestant we are using. So it interact with the particular drug and then show its adverse effect. Now, are nasal decongestants safe to use while pregnant or breastfeeding? Pregnant lady or breastfeeding lady, because there is no such side effect. And topical nasal decongestant is very safe for the pregnant lady and breastfeeding lady. Then the class of drug used to treat to allergy reaction is called antihistamines. Because as you can see, it is important to realize that antihistamine and decongestants exert only a alleviate effect on the symptom of the common cold and the allergic rhinitis. So we can use antihistamine to treat allergic reactions with combination of nasal decongestant. Then we have allergy can cause conjunctivitis. Yes, it can cause conjunctivitis. What is the pet dander? Pet dander is the micromolecules of the pets that are available in our home. The pet available in our home. So the micromolecules that comes from their body and comes to the environment, and they may cause the allergic reactions. What is the pollen is a powder produced by certain plant that can trigger allergies. Of course, they can trigger allergies. Those person who are having allergies from the pollen grain, they can cause allergies reaction. So this is all about your quiz. And for reference purpose, uh, I have taken all these slides from your KDTs and Goodman Gilman's book. So you can definitely follow those books. So today we have covered our topic nasal decongestants. I hope you have understand all this. What is nasal decongestant and what are decongestants, how conjunctions occur, and then what are the ideal properties of nasal decongestants. So while we are using nasal decongestants, what we have to see in nasal decongestant, then what are the example of decongestants, and what are the type of decongestants we have, like we have a systemic or topical or in the form of inhaler. Then what is the common mechanism of action of decongestant. Then we have also covered what is the systemic nasal decongestants, what are the mechanism of action of systemic nasal decongestant. Then we have covered the side effect of systemic decongestant, like what it does in the CNS, like it causes nervousness, restlessness, headache, insomnia. Then what is the effect in the CV and cardiovascular side effect of nasal decongestant? So they can increase blood pressure and increase the heart rate. What are the urinary sprinklers, and how they affect on the urinary sprinkler. And we have also covered the pseudoephedrine, phenylephrine, what its brand name, and what the indications, what are the side effects, what are the doses form they are available in. Then we have also seen the precautions, the contraindications, and we have also studied about the topical nasal decongestant, which include sprays, drops, in the form of drops, and drops most commonly used in the children's. And then we have already covered the inhalers, how inhaler work, and how sprays work, what are the basic use of them. So we also cover the spray advantage of spray, disadvantage of spray. Like it is very simple to use, and disadvantage is it has a tendency to block at the tip of the bottle. Then drop. What are the advantage of drop? What are the disadvantage of drop? Then we also cover the inhaler, why we use inhaler, what are the advantage and disadvantage of inhaler. Then we have also covered the side effect of topical in decongestant. So they can cause the local irritation and rebound congestion. And this is the note about the what is rebound congestion and how can we overcome it. Then this is the ephedrine, ipratropium bromide, brand name, indications and doses. We have already covered it. And what is the side effect of the ipratropium bromide and ephedrine? So you can see. And what are the contraindication, drug interaction. Then doses form for ipratropium bromide and ephedrine. And this is the summary form of nasal decongestant. So you can summarize this, and these are the questions we have already answered it. The most important questions involved in this is what are the drugs that interact with nasal decongestion, and this is very important at a point of view of your GPAT exam, and also what are the allergies that can cause conjunctivitis, and what are the example of nasal conjunctions. So you can check it all these questions, and you have to know about all these questions. So it is very easy to understand about all these questions while you understand the previous slides. So this is all about your nasal decongestant, and for today's lecture this is all. Thank you.